Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for round 23 of the ARC Formula 1 Championship. We are at the Portuguese Grand Prix, track that just released like literally earlier this week. So, things should be quite interesting, as this is a track that the drivers haven't had a lot of time to practice. And yet that doesn't seem to have deterred many people, as for the first time in quite a while we have a full 20-car grid for this Grand Prix. Couple of new drivers, but it's honestly the same group. Running through the new drivers that are in the race. They're not on the track yet, but Jackson Altman, who just got done with the AF2 race, is subbing for one of the AlphaTauris. You have, also not on the track yet, Curtis Frost, filling in for AJ's second driver is Axel Reitz. I think it's Reitz. And then we have Gabe Cazola in the other AlphaTauri. Looks as though Dylan Van Alsem was the first to start his lap, so we're right on board with him. Man, that leaderboard takes up a lot of the screen. He's on medium tires, so I don't think this will be a super competitive lap time in the early going. I mean, yeah, it'll be pole, because he's going to be the first one to run a lap, but it's not going to be... It's not going to withstand much, because it's, you know, not on the softs. My throat is having a bit of an issue right now, so try to bear with me as I clear it like 60 times in hopes of it going away. It probably won't, but we can hope. And heading down the last corner. He's out of the ERS. And the first lap of the session will be a 1:18.5. AJ Knickel will be next. And he will be on the softs and run a 17.6. Caden Bright, I forgot about him. Caden Bright is also a new driver in this event. He runs a 17 flat to open things up. Liam Angelo Carrig with his medium run sets a 17.6, and Lee Kelly's 17.4. So the mediums can be on pace in theory, but at the same time, I think the heavy hitters haven't gone yet. Man, I wish I didn't have to do it any more than you probably wish I would stop doing it. I can't make this up, by the way. I'm not exaggerating. That's just that bad. It's like my body knows I'm trying to commentate something, and it makes it as difficult as possible to speak. And yeah, turn 8 is going to be a danger zone. There's no traction out of there whatsoever. As we see Van Alsem running a very unique line heading towards the pit lane. Is that allowed? Connor Stusher runs an 18.1 on his medium run. Jackson Altman is currently on his lap. Luke Triller has retired from the session. I'm not really sure. I think he's just in the pit lane, so... In some regards, the drivers that were in AF2 have a small advantage in that they know, or they have a better idea of what the tires will be like after multiple laps run. That's an invalid lap, that's too much of the curb. It shouldn't be, but it is. Francis Ferrand. Is it Ferrand or Ferrand? I think it's Ferrand, because I haven't been corrected yet, so I'm going to assume it's Ferrand. Enunciations are difficult. Anyway, Francis is on a lap currently. He's like the last remaining driver of note that hasn't completed a lap yet. And he gets turn 8 wrong. That's the first onboard shot of a turn 8 error. Error. Caden Bright steps up the requirements. He runs a 16.7. Now, Tristan Adams is currently on the lap. Actually, I totally missed him at the bottom. He is on mediums. Nice first gear. He is on mediums, so this will not be provisional pole. It would take quite a lot to defeat Caden Bright in that lap time on mediums, so I tell you what. And even as fast as some of the drivers in this league are, I don't think anybody can do that without soft tires, so... He's gotten purple in Sector 2, but I'm not really sure if that's to be believed or not. Big lockup going into that corner. I don't know these corner numbers. A bit jumpy as well. I hope it's not on my end, because this could be a problem if it is. And he runs a 17.3. So he's actually second best, and he tops, well, everyone except for Caden Bright in the McLaren. Liam Angelo's still on the track. He's run 3 laps on those mediums. I guess you don't exactly need them, but still. Lee Kelly and Cameron Dowds are on outlaps, as is AJ Knickel. Tyler Crabtree also on an outlap. I'm going to look at, see how Curtis Frost is getting along, as he is one of the new drivers for this race. I could just saw Kyler Boggs run an 18 flat and move up the leaderboard with his soft tire run. Not incredible pace by any means, but then again, there's still plenty of time to, you know, go faster. Anyway, Curtis Frost heads up towards the line, and it's a 19 flat. Not all too impressive. Here we see the wild Jackson Altman hanging out in the grasslands after presumably having a spin. Tyler Crabtree heads around the final corner to begin his flying lap. That seems like as good of a time as any to try and walk you through a lap of this track. So in Portugal, you had this weird turn 1 kink, which Crabtree has already missed, but somehow didn't get invalidated for. Little turn 2 kink, and then braking zone for 3. Watch traction out of there, as well as up the hill through 4. If the suspension stroke is off, the car will just die. Heavy downhill braking zone for turn 5. Probably the easiest corner exit on the track, in my experience. Turn 7 comes up quick. Turn 8, even quicker. The further you are on the outside on the exit of the corner, the better chance you have of not spinning. That's what I've learned. A weird trail braking, basically high-speed Bahrain turn 10. Right there. Another pseudo-trail braking corner for the last left-hander on the track, and then a slight tap on the brakes. Maybe more than the slight tap. And the final corner, which is, you know, just a small steering input. Run out of ERS, because apparently everyone's doing that. And that is a lap of Portugal. It's a 17.7, so it's not a terribly amazing one, but it's a lap. And then again, he is on mediums still. He's a bit behind the beat on that. Meanwhile, as I was walking us through that lap, Lee Kelly ran a pole lap of a 16.6. And the championship battle is pretty trivial at this point. If I remember right, I think I heard that all that Lee Kelly must do is place top 6, and the championship is his. AJ Nickel is around in the middle of the road. Thank God we have ghosting on, or that would have been a disaster. Caden Bright is on his way around the track to try and contest that pole. AJ has gotten a grid penalty from a collision with the new driver Curtis Frost. I'm not exactly sure how that's played out, but considering AJ's relatively impressive qualifying performance up to this point, that's actually going to leave a mark. You just saw Jonathan Parker put himself on the board with the 17.6. 3 surviving drivers still yet to make a lap time. Jackson Altman has definitely attempted. Francis Friend ran 1 lap, and Gabe Cazzola, I think, is out of the pits for the first time in the session. Caden Bright will definitely throw down the gauntlet with that. A 16.4 for Lee Kelly to match. Francis Ferrand has finally completed a lap, an 18 flat on mediums. Let's check in on Gabe Cazzola real quick, as he's about 2/3 of the way through his lap. In a weird trail braking corner. Just about keeps it between the lines. Now, Gabe Cazzola is not a new driver by any means. He used to be in ARC a long time ago. I say a long time ago. It was like last year, as late as out of ERS. Everyone's very good at doing that. I guess it's kind of inevitable. An 18 flat as well for Gabe Cazzola, just ahead of Francis, who's on the harder compound. We would just saw Mikey DeJong run a 16.9. So he got pretty close to the front runners, but he is not able to directly contest that pole position. And I think, based on the timing here, I don't think he's going to be able to get another lap in if he goes into the pits. If he decides to run another lap on these tires, he could. But that's ill-advised, considering they've already got wear on them as it is. Cameron Dowds is on his way around the racetrack. And, he certainly needs to find a bit of time here, because he's second in the championship, but if he doesn't win, then I don't remember if, I don't even remember if it's possible for him to win the championship if he doesn't win the race. AJ Knickel is on a very fast outlap. It seems like he's already pushing the car, and he's not even at the line yet. Up ahead is his teammate, who's also on an outlap, so it's only the 2 Williams on outlaps, and then DeJong on an off lap, and Connor Suchel about to begin a lap, I think. Oh, he's in the middle of his lap, I'm dumb. So right on board with Connor Suchel for the time being. Ever so cautious through 8. That corner's like a masked murderer. You never see it coming, and then suddenly you're backwards on the racetrack. That was just about within the track boundaries. I'm honestly surprised the game didn't ding him for that. Easy on the transmission, my lad. And he heads through the final corner, reaches his ERS limit, and he will run a 17.2. He's definitely siphoned some pace out of nowhere on that one. And Nickel invalidated his lap. Axel Reitz also did the same thing. Jackson Altman is on an outlap and is about to attempt his final chance at making a qualifying lap here. Let's see if he could pull it off. And then start, well actually I was going to say start not last. No, Luke Treeler's already starting last because he's DNF from the session. He's got Dylan Van Alsem up ahead who's also on a lap, so he has, you know, no requirement to get out of the way. He's going to anyway. I guess maybe it's a cooldown lap for him. The game doesn't tell you that part. There's yellow sectors all over the course. Carefully proceed through turn 8. But not too carefully. Some traffic up ahead. A bit loose. Mikey De Jong sees and gets out of the way. I don't know if that car up ahead is even close enough to be an obstacle. It looks like it's the other Ferrari who is on a lap. So Jackson Altman has done it. He has managed to complete a valid lap time. Now they get to see what that lap time is. And it's a 17.9, so he gets 15th, just ahead of his current teammate, Gabe Gazzola. Meanwhile, at the top, some shifting around, as it were, Liam Carrig runs a 16.7. And Lee Kelly is on his way around to challenge for pole versus Caden Bright and Mikey De Jong, who is also in the middle of his lap. Jonathan Parker, while I wasn't even paying any attention, ran his own 16.9. So he'll be starting pretty high on the grid with that. Cameron Dowd's also on track, but based on his previous qualifying laps, he'd have to find a heck of a lot of time to be relevant in this battle for pole. Since he's going to be the first of the major drivers to complete his lap, we'll follow him around for the last 2 corners and see if you can pull a rabbit out of the hat, or if he's on the back foot before we even get started. And 16.6, so he has gained sudden relevance out of absolutely nowhere. And Lee Kelly did not get around in time, or no, he didn't improve his lap, that's the thing. So regardless of how Caden Bright performs here, he will be your pole sitter. And by, you know, that's consistency. He ran 2,000ths off his pole time to, well, more than take pole here for the Portuguese Grand Prix in his debut, I think. Yeah, it's a F1 debut. Jackson Altman is still on the track. And Axel Wright just finished his lap. I've said that name 3 different ways. I think it is Reitz. What? Oh, this is Mikey driving, isn't it? Is it? I guess it was. He ran a 16.6 as well. I didn't even notice he ran that. I like totally missed that somehow. But then he gets a 5-place grid penalty for illegally blocking. He wasn't even ahead of anybody. He was behind somebody, if anything. So Caden Bright, some rare American representation in this, you know, North American-owned league. Sad. He is your pole sitter. The two title protagonists, since I guess that's the term that F1 likes to use, even though neither of them are protagonists, if you ask me. Not in real life, anyway. They start on the same row of the grid. Actually, no, because Mikey's grid penalty will change that. Cameron will be on the grid ahead. Or the row ahead. That's the word. So, if I was in the chat a moment, right as the stream started. I didn't want to bring up the comments too early, though. Seems there's a bit of tension between AJ and Curtis Frost in the chat. So here at the formation lap, and even the formation lap is pretty fast for Caden Bright. Get the other things on the screen. I don't know why it turns some things off, but not everything. Okay, I really should just have my tablet on hand because, you know, in case I get further comments, I don't want to keep taking away the game screen. Christian Pacheco has joined, however, he already has, like, there's already an Aston Martin in the race, other than Kyler. Connor Suchel's already in it, so Christian is not really able to do anything other than just kind of watch. Okay, YouTube, why are you not showing me the... There we go. Give me my stream. Alright, as formation lap comes to an end. Poor AJ starting down in 19th. I think he was on like 5th on the leaderboard at some point. He slowly... Wow, that's so far away. There is a gnat in my room. Can you not do that right now? And can you be a gnat somewhere else? Go upstairs, good luck, Mom. Or better yet, go outside. You know, where bugs are supposed to be. Anyway. Alright, that's right, they're demolishing the house behind us. Yeah, so the formation lap has concluded. We have the 5 red lights. They might be synced up. We are green from the Portuguese Grand Prix. I think AJ Knickel just got hit with a jump start, if I'm not mistaken. I saw him moving before everyone else. Caden Bright remains the leader as we head through turn 1. Meanwhile, there might be some battle. No, there is not between the Alpine and the Alpha. There will be a battle between that Haas and that Alfa Romeo, though, as the Haas shoves the Alfa Romeo off the track. And, of course, I'm sure the Alfa Romeo got a warning for that, but he is ahead of the Haas. Aston Martin sends it on the inside of said Haas. I believe he was just trying to stay ahead of that other Haas. And he will do so just well enough. The back here, we got a little bit of discord going on. And AlphaTauri having to save it through turn 8 after colliding with Williams. God, imagine if I had to do the whole thing like this and I didn't know anyone's name. We got some braking pandemonium. I believe a Red Bull has just lost its wing. Red Bull gives you wings, but don't overuse it. And we are done with the first lap, and we don't seem to have any safety car for once. And I was correct. AJ Kinnickle with a jump start penalty. So he'll be serving that now. Plenty, with a lot of other information being shown. Obviously, Caden Bright with the fastest lap. No duh, it's the first lap of the GP. There's the strategy, which is interesting. I was definitely hearing a lot of soft to hard, so the game might be a little bit wrong on that. So don't really take that at face value, as it were. We have 6 cars pitting in. I presume they all have damage from that weird sort of concertina effect that happened in Sector 3. Like, end of Sector 2, maybe. The closest 2 cars on the track right now, well, they were those 2. Now it is Jonathan Parker looking for a way around Dylan Swiss Carpenter, who I had forgotten he was even in the race, if I'm honest. Jackson Altman already has encountered a penalty for corner cutting. That's a 5-second, though. So that's more severe than just a regular 3 warning penalty, and I'm beginning to wonder if maybe that wasn't actually his fault. And yeah, turn 1 here, not a passing zone. Not enough braking. Parker already gets a penalty for just making turn 2 as normal, really. Big off-track excursion for Swiss Carpenter. Now here's a passing zone. And Parker's just gonna go in there. They bang wheels, and Parker barely managed to keep the car straight, but to be honest, I didn't think that move was even on in the first place, so... diligently watch the leaderboard, see if any battles are happening. There's something back here between Congdon and Van Alzem, and okay, that's not on. That's debatable at best. This is just ugly. Wow, okay, we're gonna look back at the front now, because that was hard to watch. And people wonder why NFR is going away at the end of the season for F1. Well, I mean, the actual reason is because we don't have a second driver, but that's beside the point. Now, Caden Bright is well off track at turn 2. He's gotten a penalty for his troubles, because he definitely gained time from that and didn't get overtaken by 2 people, Codemasters. So Cameron Dowds is now the leader. However, that's all a moot point if Lee Kelly just remains here. Connor Suchel around at turn 4. And luckily he has plenty of free space to gather the car back up and be on his way before anybody else gets there. Gabe Cazzola versus Luke Treelor. I didn't see if that was an actual overtake, if that was a mistake made by Luke, but... nonetheless, Gabe is ahead on track for the moment. Oh my... huge turn 8 moment for Treelor. It's not a super difficult spin to recover if you get loose out of 8, but it still can definitely be a bit taxing if it happens multiple times during a race. I can only imagine. And we got more combat imminent. The 2 Haas cars are running down... what? The 2 Haas cars are running down Swiss Carpenter. Parker will be ahead well and truly by the breaking point. Curtis Frost has been disqualified from the session for going the wrong way. And Dylan Van Alzem has retired from the session. And that's a safety car. There's no wall over there. Oh, I guess there is. It's a unique place to crash. So there is an early safety car. I'm honestly confused by both that and by how Curtis Ross has been disqualified. It takes intent to get disqualified by going the wrong way normally. No, and Connor Setchell has gotten a speeding penalty into the safety car. You love to see that. Tyler Crabtree has been disqualified for ignoring the yellow flag. Huh? I guess he was like speeding for 30 seconds. The ways of F1 2021 safety cars will never cease to just confuse me. According to the Discord, Tyler Crabtree got DQ'd for passing the safety car. Thank you, Lungs, for giving out on me. You'd think I was a smoker. No, I'm not. The majority of the field has caught up. We're waiting for the back four drivers, and we should be green this lap. I do believe. Let's get a look at everyone's tires. Position change, that's actually kind of overblown right now because, well, pit strategy. Some people just didn't go in right now, like Luke Treelor and Francis Ferrand, for example, who, you know, along with Kyler Boggs and Gabe Gazzola, they're still on their 6-lap old tires. And now everyone has arrived at the back of the safety car line. Wasn't that a fancy shot? Safety car will be in this lap. No more flash photography. It's time for driving. And man, we are definitely waiting for that safety car. Oh my god. We're not doubling up, folks. This is not a NASCAR race. As much as this carousel might look like it belongs at Watkins Glen, we are not in a NASCAR race. Oh my god. We are finally green once again from Portimao. And I'm not surprised somebody got wing damage from that. I'm surprised there wasn't more people, to be honest. Luke Treloar versus Francis Ferran going through turn 1. Treloar probably got a warning, but he also gets P2. Francis Ferran gets back to his inside, but he is forced to retreat as we head up towards turn 4. No DRS at the moment. Doesn't stop Francis from going for it anyway, and nothing doing there. Mikey De Jong has been absolutely mugged off this safety car restart. I believe he may have some wing damage. Oh yeah, obviously. Axel Reitz also looks like he's dealing with some wing damage. I don't know if Charlie Congdon also has wing damage or if he just got sent back here by crashes. Oh no, that's wing damage. I'm pretty sure. Maybe not, honestly. I can't really tell. I don't know how much of that cornering speed is down to wing damage, or if it's just the fact that they're on the hard tires, which probably aren't cornering super well. Oh, no, it's wing damage. You can definitely tell in that last corner, that's wing damage. And he'll be boxing, as will the other 3 behind him. Or, no, not the other 3. Condorcet already did that. Gabe Gazzola trying to keep that McLaren behind him, but I think that is just, that's just not going to happen. Jonathan Parker versus Swiss Carpenter once again, and Parker will wait his turn. Very much under a blanket, these 4 cars. 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. They're very close together. AJ Kinnickle with the fastest tires of them. But Parker with the pace advantage all around, although he is on... Well, everyone else in this group is on hards. Tristan Adams is really on the back foot, because his hards are a little bit more, you know, worn out. Apparently he also did not pit under that safety car period, I'm guessing. Well, this should be easy as pie for Jonathan Parker heading towards turn 1. Or no, wait, because DRS isn't enabled yet, so... He could still get it done, but it's going to take a little bit more effort. And it appears that Swiss Carpenter is running lower wings, so that's not going to happen just yet. Maybe into turn 5, though, because DRS is now available. Allman with yet another penalty. Parker finds the back end of Carp's vehicle. And that's the first time I've called anybody by their username, that's for sure. DRS is there. Parker with a reluctant dive bomb. Kind of reluctant, I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for. Kinnickle and Adams also fought through turn 5, but their positioning also stayed the same. There's also, I missed Caden Brights versus Lee Kelly there. I probably should have been looking up here, because this is the battle for the front of the pack. Kyler Boggs versus Luke Treloar as we head towards the last 3 turns on the racetrack. This is the battle for technically the lead, but these two, neither of them have pit. He swapped sides, squeezing on the inside lane from the Red Bull, and he will now seize the first position. However, Boggs has a massive run and DRS, so all of that was a moot point. And now Liam Carrick has a massive run, 205 miles an hour, looking like it's Daytona out here. He gets ahead of Treloar, but can't find any way around Kyler Boggs. Cameron Dowd's also within this battle. But he's just, he's more than happy to just sit and spectate this. As Liam Carrick gets up to Kyler, he's going to rear-end Kyler by locking the brakes down. And Treloar has found himself off the track at 5. He loses many places from that. Parker will finally get around that Alfa Romeo driver. But it took some doing. Treloar is even once again off track. He loses even more positions from that. probably damaged his soft tires pretty badly in that as well. Oh my god, what is happening here? Carrig and Dowd's too wide. Bit of squeezing action going on. Dowd's is just barely given Alpine's width. They're going to force each other a bit wide, and Francis Ferrand is going to take advantage. He's going to be ahead of that Mercedes driver, and in the prime position to get around the Alpine driver. There's a 2-for-1 deal on overtakes if you use the code DRS at checkout. And Liam Carrig is out of the race. What just happened? He just ran into the pit wall. Did somebody spin him out? Either way, that's another safety car. The vehicles that were behind Liam Carrig when he crashed are able to pit now. Other ones have to wait a lap. So Luke Trewar and Connor Setchell do significantly benefit from this safety car, as does Congdon, and Mickey De Jong does not pit. I assume probably because he just did it. Axel, the Williams driver. Because I don't know how it's pronounced, I'm just going to refer to him as Axel or the Williams driver. It's like the sports games way of doing it. If it's a player that doesn't have like audio to pronounce, like presenter audio, they'll just refer to them by their plate number. So it's like, now at the plate, number 12. Alright. Calm down for a moment. Maybe take the UI off the screen and have some dynamic cameras play out while the safety car plays, or safety car runs. Not everyone else, apparently. Altman here has elected to not pit. Tristan Adams got a penalty for hitting Swiss Carpenter. I didn't even know they were near each other. So Altman is currently the leader. He's the only person at the safety car right now. Caden Brights almost loses it in turn 8 and run to the safety car conditions. That's kind of a little bit scary. This camera view looks a lot different when there's only 3 cars caught up to the safety car. Darn it. Tried keeping this camera for as long as possible, but it didn't work. Now there's just no one there. Anyway, no more photography. The safety car is obviously not in right now because there's still a bunch of people that aren't here yet. Including Lee Kelly, who certainly needs to not be back here at the moment. Mind you, he's pretty safe since Cameron Dowds isn't currently leading the race, but if he gets up there at any point in time and he's still back here, the championship battle is actually a thing. Francis makes a late call to pit, which will put him back in just about last place. My ear is unbelievably itchy. Actually, it will put him in last place. No, it won't. Oh, that engine didn't sound good. It just sounded like somebody was spitting all over the place. Like a spit take or something. Someone just got told a really funny joke and they had a glass of they had like a drink of water in their mouth. Or they were just making fart noises because they're 12. The engine is a child. Oh my god. For the love of God, you are the pole sitter, Caden Brights. Don't Ericsson it, or don't Grosjean it. Ericsson hit him. The safety car is going to be in on this lap. Parker already looking for a way around Gabe. And start this off to Jackson Altman. You're not really giving the safety car much space here. He's now able to floor it at his earliest possible convenience. And it was a very interesting restart. However, turn 1 doesn't really allow for much. It allows you to get a lot of warnings if you get pushed off the track. Other than that, doesn't really help much. And look back from Jonathan Parker as he's the one that's just ahead of a lot of the chaos that's currently behind him. He's gonna send it down. Gabe Cazolla's inside. What was that? Swiss Carpenter and Cazzolla are now out of the GP. Is that not a safety car? Did Carpenter have a brake failure? Or brain failure? I don't know. I say, what was that? Not only because it was egregious driving, but also because it legitimately scared me a little bit, because I didn't expect to flipping. I thought it was a Haas, but I didn't expect to see a Alfa Romeo rocket ship fly into shot at 170 miles an hour. You know, heaven forbid I thought people would be slowing down for that corner, but here we are. No DRS available, so no overtaking will really be taking place on this occasion. Everyone's still super close together, though. Francis just about giving space to that Red Bull driver on the outside. The Red Bull driver just about giving space to Francis. I guess it's a give and take here at Portimao. Poor exit for Treloar will allow Axel, the Williams driver, to take the position. Treloar will send it back down the inside. A smooth crossover attempt, but Treloar's got a better exit and he'll be on his way. Jackson Altman runs off, allowing Caden Bright to get to the lead uninterfered with. That's a battle for P2. Too wide are Dowds and Boggs, and Dowd just slides up into Boggs and sends him off the racetrack. That's not a Yep, there's the championship, ladies and gentlemen. And that is a VSC. So the actual murder committed on the AlphaTauri was nothing, but that's a safety car. Oh, in this one scenario, I can confidently say Kyler Boggs did not do anything there. That was entirely on Cameron Dowds. Alright, well, congratulations to Lee Kelly with that Cameron Dowd's DNF. He is now the champion of this season of ARC Formula 1. There's no catching him now. He's going to have like a 30-point lead at the end of this race. From what I'm getting indication of, it may be that there's some lag going on from Tristan Adams, and that might have caused that. At the same time, wasn't he ahead of Gabe and Carpenter? I feel like he wasn't even behind them. Carpenter's saying he got punted. I don't really know. And the camera was ahead of that, so. I mean, we'd still have to figure out who punted him. That information only gets us so far. If that's truly what happened. As the safety car makes another revolution, it doesn't really seem like anybody's intent on pitting at the moment. Well, Kyler Boggs kind of has to. He just got absolutely smacked by Cameron Dowds, so. I'm half tempted to go and grab a bottle of water while this safety car goes on, but I know the mic is super loud if I set it down, so I'm not going to deafen you all by doing that right now. I'm just going to have to deal with it. Actually, no, I can just mute the microphone. Alright, I've returned. Trust me, I need the water. My throat is dying. It was... Before I was having to clear it over and over again, now it just hurts. I don't even want to discuss the state of, or the condition of my throat after the last F1 Grand Prix, which was just as chaotic as this one at parts. It's a debatable start. Yeah, that's not... You definitely forwarded way too early there, Caden. And... What? Are they gonna get through that? No, they're not. Caden Bright has made his own bed and slept in it. Connor Setchel, through all that whatever just happened, is now the leader. I believe they were 4 wide. I had the camera on the wrong person to see it, but I think they were just 4 wide into turn 1 following that abysmal safety car restart. And Jakunik, with a major tank slapper in an attempt to keep it off of him. Tristan Adams has his own tank slapper. And almost a beautifully executed move on the outside from Treelor, but he instead runs into the back of Parker, and that allows Mikey to get back ahead of him. Jonathan Parker gets to AJ Kinnickel's inside through the last corner. A high-octane drag race, as it were, more or less. Parker is up into the podium positions. AJ almost showing off the power of Slipstream. De Jong gets into the back of Kinnickel just a tiny bit. Treelor just inserts himself into the scenario. I don't know about that one. He's going to go back down the inside of the Alpine driver. He's going to force him off wide. Kinnickel with a big correction moment through turn 7. Usually it's the next one that gives people trouble, not that one. Luke Trelaw smells blood in the water. Lee Kelly, despite the fact that he has the championship in his grasp, is not holding anything back at the moment. He probably should have held himself back, as now he's broken his wing on the back of De Jong's vehicle. And now he's going to get in Kyler Boggs' way while attempting to, you know, get off the track. Because he can't really go too far with no wing. DRS is enabled, but not many people are really in a spot to use it at the moment. Francis Ferrand is, however, and Jonathan Parker will be. Tristan Adams heads into the pits and retires the car. Great commitment from the NFR drivers as always. There's the DRS, but Francis is too far back and Parker didn't really get a good exit out of 4, so nothing doing up here. Same story for the mid-pack. Mikey De Jong was not close enough to the Red Bull to do anything with it. Trelaw appears to be sweating a little bit up there. I've seen him miss a couple of apexes. Jonathan Parker is all over the back of that Mercedes rear wing. Mercedes? Well, McLaren, Mercedes. Or Merc-Claren, as I once called it. Do we see anything this time as we head down towards turn 1? Certainly not from Francis, but he got a good enough exit to where he's not under threat from Parker either. But Mikey De Jong is certainly in range. He's going to get to Trelaw's inside. Trelaw squeezes him under that sausage curb. What is happening there? Connor Suchel appears to have spun off the track. And I think the game reset him. Congdon forces him off wide just a tiny amount. Battle for 4th continues onwards as Jackson Altman gets absolutely robbed through turn 5. Axel Reet, well, he manages to avoid a crash, but he has still spun. So yeah, Connor Suchel had spun from the lead, I guess, and it wasn't provoked. He was the leader, so he did that on his own. So now it is down between Ferrand and Parker for the race lead as we head back towards the front straightaway. Francis with the better exit and more ERS, but Parker has DRS. It's not enough. To be fair, turn 1 is kind of a paradox in terms of passing zones, and that it's DRS straight, but it's not a passing zone. It's not wide enough. It's not enough of a braking zone either. Luke Trelaw is out of the race as he just flung himself off the track, and we have yet another safety car. And I think from here, I'm thinking the move for some drivers will definitely be pit and get softs. Because there's only going to be 10 to go, and I'm sure the softs can get that far, especially if we have another safety car. I struggle to open a water bottle, don't mind me. Yeah, there's no denying that. You jumped the gun. I can't say I've ever heard of anyone jumping the gun and then getting shot by it. But if that's possible, you probably did it. The heck? Water bottle lid is confused. Unsurprisingly, everyone boxes. Every single person is boxing. Boggs about makes an overtake in the pits. The thing with Lee Kelly's position, he doesn't even get a chance to. And Boggs on never mind. He just hadn't changed the overlay yet. Yeah, Lee Kelly doesn't have to box. He's only got 2 laps on those softs. Somehow Francis already has a lap on his. I'm not really sure how that works. And there's the safety boy. The what? The safety... Why did I call it the safety boy? What? Why did I do that? Okay, well... Of all the ways to let things slip like that, at least it's just something dumb like safety boy and I didn't just accidentally swear. I've done that once. So it's definitely the story of the race up to this point. Obviously, still a lot can change, especially if you have another Pepega restart like we did on the last one. Definitely the story of the race would be either Francis or AJ's position, given where they started, or Altman. All 3 of those drivers have gained double-digit positions throughout the course of the GP. Francis being the leader after starting P12 in the race. AJ started literally 2nd from last and is currently on track for a podium if he can keep his car on the road and keep Connor Suchel at bay. And Jackson Altman on his debut is currently running top 5, up from starting in 17th. I guess also some mention worth making of Charlie Congdon, who is up 8 from where he started. And I guess by way of survival, Axel, the Williams driver, is going to end up scoring at least 1 point on his debut. He's also still on the hard tires, which I would probably refer to that as a questionable decision. Charlie Congdon has made 5 pit stops. What the heck? Now we gotta start looking at penalties. Francis Ferrand has 0, as does Connor Suchel. AJ would still be on track for a podium because Parker, despite his pace, also has 9 seconds of penalties. So I don't think he's any threat to win the race, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. And there's still some laps to go. He could get another one. Then again, so could anyone else. This looks like we're almost looked like we were doubling up again, and I was just like about to make another NASCAR joke. And Axel Reitz has run into the back of Kyler Boggs, and we are green for hopefully the last time here in Portugal. Mikey DeJong got absolutely mugged off the restart. He's lost 3 places on his way into turn 1. Lee Kelly just rear ends Charlie Congdon, to which Mikey DeJong will take full advantage, or try. Instead he'll be forced off the track. There really isn't a lot of ability to not do that here. Bit of a mess for Altman, and just a bit of a mess all around here in the back half of the running field. Wing damage for Mikey. Altman sent off the track. I think Charlie rear-ended him. Kyler Boggs actually made it out of that probably the best out of anybody. He made off like a bandit with that. Connor Suchel attempts to exist on the outside lane. No such luck. Parker taking the slow in, fast out approach. He sees that Francis is backing up his entries. Is he gonna make that? Oh, that was beautiful. Right on the outside of a high-speed corner. That feels like old F1 with that move. Connor Suchel out of ERS. Bit of slip, well, at the limit of ERS. They're heading to turn 1. He had his wing there and he broke a bit later, but there was still nothing to be produced. Through the use of slipstream, however, I believe Francis got back ahead of Parker, so that incredible overtake on the outside was ultimately worth not much. Good thing AJ left half a lane on the outside, otherwise Sucher would have driven straight into the back of the man. 7 and 8 is not a good spot for that. Okay. I was about to say, that's asking for trouble if you think that's a passing zone like that. Maybe in real life, but with the amount of traction we have, there's no telling what'll happen on the corner exit. You could end up like Jackson Altman. Nobody wants to be around there. And we approach 6 laps to go. There will be DRS from this point onwards. AJ Knickel just about managing to keep Connor Suchel at bay. The longer Suchel takes to clear AJ, the more of a chance Congdon has to get up to them and make it a 3-way fight for would-be second place, because Parker's still sitting on those 9 seconds of penalties. Congdon gets 3 more of his own. And suddenly Kyler Boggs looks like he could be on for a podium if things continue how they are, because AJ will have a penalty. Parker will have a big penalty. So Connor might end up being P2 when he's supposed to be an F2 driver. And he's pretty much all but mathematically won the championship down there as well. And another penalty for Altman. Kyler Boggs has not received any penalties up to this point. So if he stays like right here, when AJ and Congdon and Parker get penalized, he will end up being P3 behind Suchel and Francis. Speaking of Francis, Parker is currently trying to find a way by him. DRS has been enabled. Francis moves to the inside and breaks the slipstream. Parker decides to not follow. Suchel is ahead of AJ. A pretty easy out-dragging scenario heading towards 1. And honestly, that's the safe way to do it. If you're too wide when you reach turn 1, there's a problem, more or less. Congdon will go for a move on the Williams driver, who defends the inside just a little bit. Charlie is not deterred, but they hook wheels and they both end up off the track. And Kyler Boggs behind is probably loving that. Makes his life even easier if these two end up tangling again and taking themselves off the racetrack. Congdon sends on the outside of AJ Knickel, but does not yield any results and instead almost tank slaps himself off the track. Why do they call it a tank slapper anyway? It's a weird name for almost spinning. Parker with ERS and now DRS. He still does not elect to follow Francis down to the inside of the track. Interesting decision making, I will have to say. I guess Parker was waiting for turn 5, but he's not going to be close enough. No matter how much he wants to send it there, that's not on. Speaking of send it, that was a bit bold from Congdon. AJ obviously had no idea that Congdon was going to do that. He could have probably guessed, but he didn't know. Especially considering the fact that Congdon has more penalties than AJ, and would end up being behind him anyway. Through a very interesting use of track limits, Congdon remains at AJ's diffuser, but AJ is just hanging on for dear existence. He goes a bit wide through the second to last corner. Congdon shoves him off a little bit even. And can AJ achieve compensation for this? There's the DRS. Congdon swerves like a drunk driver, but ultimately he has nothing with which to prevent this. He instead loses a spot to Kyler Boggs, and gets a penalty again for his trouble. Congdon today seems to really be misestimating the width of his vehicle. And, there's going to be some drama after the race from that one. And I'll be honest, once again I'm siding with Kyler Boggs here. That was just sad. I'm trying not to say things that'll make me part of the argument. I mean, you definitely could have had P7 there still, or P8, but at the same time, I also don't blame you, so it's kind of a weird thing. Parker now decides he will follow Francis's slipstream, but now he's also not on the ERS. And his infinite genius, Congdon picks up more time penalties. As a Jackson, if I'm you, I just let him go before he goes right through. Anyway, looking back at the battle for the lead, there's not a big one. I mean, Parker is right there in the catbird seat, but he's never able to put himself in the right position to make it stick. And even if he can, he's got 9 seconds of penalties. He's basically in a net P4 at the moment. I mean, earlier on it made sense to get, the idea of if you can get ahead of Francis and stay there, you can begin to make a gap and maybe get 9 seconds ahead and not have to worry about it. But we reached the final lap of the GP. That window of opportunity has since long passed. Bit of an ambiguous defense from Ferrand there, and keeping the Haas driver at bay just once more. Now there's only one more big braking zone left. If Parker doesn't find a way around here, then, and he's not going to, because that's not close enough unless Parker really gets desperate, but he's a little smarter than that. And Lee Kelly around in, where are we? This is turn 9 or turn 10. I was actually legitimately lost. I didn't know where it was. Where are we? Parker is once again super close. He's gonna dummy an outside move. Gets a huge run out of that corner. We've only got one more braking zone to go, but Francis slides up the track just enough to keep Parker at bay. And I've said at bay a lot of times during this race. Despite Johnny's best efforts, it is insufficient. From, I believe it was P12 on the grid, Francis Ferrand is going to take a victory at the Portuguese Grand Prix. As penalties go through, Connor Suchel will be P2. AJ Kinnick will end up with 3rd place. Parker will have to settle with 4th. Altman, 5th on track. Congdon doesn't make it to the line after deciding to wreck himself. Looks like it'll be Mikey P7. Axel, the Williams driver, will place 8th in his debut race. And Lee Kelly, well, under any other circumstances, this would be a very disappointing result. However, he's also won the championship because Cameron Dowds is placing in 14th down there. So, can't honestly be that upset, even if it's only P9. And he knows it. He's won the championship. It hasn't really been close at any point during this season. We do not see tire smoke because we're broadcasting the race. And that's the GP. And crash. Oh! Time for your birthday spankings. AJ Knickel will take driver of the day, according to the game, because he moved up 16 places from where he began. This would be a weird podium if this were real life. Certainly one of the most unusual races I've ever seen. I can't say I'm disappointed because it was certainly worth watching, but it was just bizarre. One of the NASCAR drivers appeared in the chat. Actually, was he supposed to be race F1? I don't remember. I could have sworn he was. I could have sworn. I know he has the game. Anyway. Yeah, so there are your final results. Francis Ferrand takes a victory from P12 on the grid. Setchel second from 9th on the grid. And AJ Knickel from 19th on the grid from a grid penalty he should have never had is P3. Also, Jackson Altman from 17th on the grid to 5th. Axel, the Williams driver, which I might honestly just keep calling him that just because I think it's kind of funny. I know he's a reserve, so next week he might end up being like, I don't know, Axel, the Aston Martin driver, but I'm still just going to keep doing that. Unless he demands that I call him by his first and last name, which, I don't know, maybe he will. 7th on his debut from P15. So that is going to do it for this broadcast of the ARC Formula 1 Championship. I believe next week, it's either next week or 2 weeks, we will have the season finale at Yas Marina. The championships, I mean, Lee Kelly is already the driver's champion. I do believe the constructor's championship is also locked up for Alfa Romeo. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it is. So it'll just be all left on the table, as there's no championship to play for. Everyone can just fling themselves at the race and try and get one last win in the deserts of Abu Dhabi.